when I want to be inspired or challenged or whatever, I'll watch.
Really?
Yeah, man. The things that you've said, the things that you've done, Customato and how, like, you met Muhammad Ali when you were a kid, like all these different things.
Yeah, I was in the
reform school. Yeah, I know your whole thing. I mean, but as a black man watching the things that you've done, the things that you've been through, your ups and your downs, you can learn from your whole arc.
I'm Evan Britton.
And I'm Mike Tyson.
And Mike, we've got a really awesome guest here today.
Yeah, this is cool. I always watch his show. I watched it with Jay-Z, and that was really interesting.
Yeah, he's
now
the man.
Now we have him. This is so cool.
He's
I don't
the
really
man.
know how this happened.
One of my favorite guys from CNN, Van Jones. Welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Awesome. I thought you'd be too big for us and stuff.
Come on. No.
I know.
This is the hottest podcast in the history of the podcast. I'm glad to get in early.
I did.
I'm glad I got in early.
I love it, man.
Ideology.
Well, just to further introduce you, you are the CEO of the Reform Alliance. The Reform Alliance is committed to advancing criminal justice reform and eradicating laws and policies that perpetuate injustice in the U.S. To achieve that objective, the Reform Alliance will strive to pass probation bills at the state level, use media to amplify the need for comprehensive reform, and build an inclusive, bipartisan alliance of leaders from business, entertainment, sports, and community industries who share a cohesive vision for ambitiously and efficiently transforming the criminal justice system.
That's it.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, this is something I've been focusing on for about 25 years. I graduated from Yale Law School in 1993. And the year before that was Rodney King, 92.
Wow.
And the year after that was 94 Clinton crime bill. And so I'm a 24-year-old black kid with a Yale law degree and dreadlocks down my back. And I was like, I feel like I'm under the target. I feel like police brutality and this prison thing is aimed at me. And both political parties were in favor of building more prisons. It was the Bill Clinton crime bill. California passed 3 strikes and you're out. Blue California built 20 prisons and only 1 university over the course of about 25 years.
Because somebody was getting paid.
Exactly.
Yes, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and so I was like, look, we're the bait. I mean, we're just going to be, the grist in the mill. I wanted to fight back, so I used my law degree in Oakland to try to fight back. And I had to fight Democrats and Republicans because both parties were against us. And now finally, 25 years later, both parties are coming around. And you got people like Jay-Z and Robert Smith and Meek Mill, all these big people coming around. And I said I wanted to put my 25 years to use.
Well, I think you're right on time, man.
Yeah, man. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So take me back because, as you say, you've been an activist for criminal justice reform for a long time. In Oakland, you co-founded the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights.
Who's Ella Baker?
Ella Baker is one of the great unsung civil rights heroines. She, when Dr. King was a young, guy coming on the scene, created the SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, he hired her to run it because she was a brilliant organizer. She'd been in the NAACP, she'd been in labor. She was a genius for organizing. But these young black preachers was like, she's like the black grandma, just do what we say. She said, what? So she quit working for Dr. King, and later that year, the students started sitting in spontaneously. And she said, they need organization. She said, I'm going to build a movement. I want to have leaders that are movement-centered leaders. I don't want a leader-centered movement. She said, Dr. King's trying to build a leader-centered movement. I want movement-centered leaders. So she interposed herself between the students and Dr. King. She said, Dr. King, you need to do what you're doing. I'm helping these students. So the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that did all that voter registration, all sort of stuff, those were her young people. Nobody knows her name. So I wanted to give her some credit because a lot of times black women are the secret sauce that never get their name on the label. So we made the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights.
You guys did a lot of super important work there. Tell me about Maurice Hudson.
Yeah, just recently in Philadelphia, of course, Meek Mill, he kind of got famously got sent to prison supposed to be for 4 years. Luckily, we got him out because he was on probation and he popped a wheelie. That's it. That's it. I mean, it's not like he didn't like shoot nobody. He didn't rob a bank. He just was on probation, popped a wheelie, put it on Instagram. Boom, 4 years in prison. So that started a whole fight in Philadelphia that probation is being abused, probation is being misused. People are going back to prison for non-crimes. It's a spider's web of catch.
Oh man, I had a probation. I had this redneck probation in Ohio. I couldn't hang around Tupac or Bobby Brown. Stay away. You're violated.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, so going back to your day.
Telling you who you can hang out with.
Yeah, this is my best friend. This is my partner at the time.
Yeah.
I can't hang out with Bobby Brown or Tupac. Violation right away. That's a violation. It would be anywhere around them.
And I mean and if they're telling you that, what are they telling Pookie and Stoopy and Shanae on the street corner? I mean, like, you can't be with your cousin, you can't be.
The reality of that is total control. Like when he did that, Willie, it disgusted somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How dare that piece of dirt do that?
Yeah.
They sure don't know their place since Reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to say it like that, but that's just how they looked at it. It's a shame that I have to say that. It's a shame that I know how they think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
it goes back.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a form of self-hate. The fact that I know the way that someone thinks about me and I think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it poisons your brain. But Maurice, the same judge that gave Meek Mill those 2 to 4 years for popping a wheelie, also grabbed this lesser known person named Maurice.
He's a janitor.
Yeah, he's a janitor. He had 2 kids, special needs kids.
Right.
He's with the baby's mom. He's going to work every day. But, those fees and fines pile up, and you have to try to pay them off. Well, he got $1,914 of unpaid fines.
Yeah.
She gave him 2 years in prison for being too poor to pay $1,900.
It's insane.
And so, and it was the same judge, Judge Brinkley, the same terrible judge. So Meek Mill jumped in, Michael Rubin, 76ers jumped in, and we got him out. But it just goes to show, you have bad judges, but you also have bad laws.
Yeah.
If you can change the laws, the judges can't do anything. But as long as you leave those bad laws on the book, a bad judge will find that bad law and abuse it. So we're now in Pennsylvania trying to change the law. So we've got a bill called 1555 in the House, bipartisan. We've got Representative Harris and Representative Delosier. He's black, she's white, he's a Democrat, she's a Republican, but they're working together to try and change some of these unjust probation laws so people don't, listen, if you're on probation or parole and you're out there committing new crimes, that's different.
Right.
But if you're just talking to your homeboy or you're 15 minutes late for a probation meeting or your aunt is sick and you go to check on her in the so-called wrong neighborhood, you're not selling drugs over there, you're just checking on you shouldn't go to prison. People don't understand. You send somebody to prison. Oh, you're just going to send you for 3 months. Well, hold on a second. 3 months. 3 months. Lock the door here for 3 months and see how you feel. And you had an apartment. 3 months later, that apartment is gone. You had a little job. 3 months later, that job is gone. Your children, 3 months later, they're in foster care.
So why do you think that is?
I think it's because the whole way that the prison industrial complex, mass incarceration is built off of poor people, black people, and brown people that nobody cares about. Listen, I went to Yale.
No, listen. Go ahead, please.
No, I went to Yale. I saw more kids doing drugs at Yale than I ever saw doing drugs in a housing project. But none of them went to prison. Nobody even called the police. If they got caught, they went to rehab.
Right.
They didn't go to prison. The cop cars would drive past Yale with the lights flashing, past Skull and Bones, past all these people doing these drugs to go to the housing project and put them in prison for a little bit of...
Kill them.
Or worse. And so you can't tell me, I'm hard to fool. You can't tell me that we don't know what to do with young people involved with drugs. Because if you're rich, you go to rehab or Europe, and you come back and your life is fine. If you're poor, black or brown, you go to prison. So we got all these nonviolent drug offenders that nobody wants to hire. But hold on a second. Show me the person who's not a nonviolent drug offender. Most people, I can say I've never been one, but most people at some point in their life, 17, 18, 24, last weekend, were nonviolent drug offenders. But they're in society, they're at the country club, they're at the yacht club, they're golfing, so they're okay. But they won't hire you Because you are not, because all I'm saying is that you ask why. I think because we have dehumanized.
I was just ready to say that. I was saying, listen, you take it, listen, I was reading, I was looking at a slave documentary.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really slavery, it was a black documentary about black people, and it showed during slave period, how they wrote so eloquently, so nicely, how useful a slave is, and the blacks were so strong and useful in the mate. And then soon as slavery and Reconstruction, they talked about how lazy they were. And so they changed, they kept that perspective on the world. And everybody, when we expect to see a black man shot in the street. This is normal to us. It's not shocking, it's not resounding, whoa, seeing that. No, this is what we're supposed to see, a nigga get beat, a black woman get shot in the face, or some cop beating this black woman. We're not supposed to get shocked at that. That's why we show it every day. See, even yourself, you see it so much you almost become numb to it. You expect that to happen. When it becomes shocking, then it becomes where people care.
I remember when back during when Black Lives Matter first jumped off in 2013, and they would show the videos and everybody would go crazy and stuff like that. Now, when I'm looking on my Instagram, if I see one of those videos, I almost go past it because it's just, I've seen it too many times. It's like, it's just too hard and you don't know what to do. And I know if I feel that way, a lot of people feel that way. It's become desensitizing. And so we begin to participate in the normalization
Even
of
though we march, but that's what we're accustomed to. They killed another black person, they raped another black. We're accustomed to that. You know, that's just what we're accustomed to in the black community.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the positive part is that people at least are starting to realize that, you know, this incarceration industry is what I call it. It's an incarceration industry, trafficking in human bodies.
Yeah. So what do you do? So once we get them out of prison, what do we keep them off parole then? Probation? How do you work that system? How do you do when a guy's already spent 20 years in jail? How do you civilize him?
Well, I mean, you got to civilize society first, so we don't put people in prison for that long for minor stuff. And
I know, but listen, that's going to be
that may take a minute.
Lifetime. But when they can get out now. But when they get out now we have uncivilized people in the community.
Think,
Excuse me?
What do you think?
I think I don't know. It doesn't matter what I think. But my way of thinking, if I ran a civilization, that people that come out of prison have to be in a program to get civilized in society. They can't just throw them out in society.
You can't just throw them back.
If a guy that's been in prison 20 years fighting for his ass, stabbing and cutting people, and sometimes getting fucked, but next thing he's still fighting, and now he's a savage. Now you got to throw him in society. And somebody may talk to him a certain way, and then he flips, he blows up.
Luckily, you know, we passed the First Step Act last year, and 7,000 people have come home. There was one who did wrong, and actually wound up, now he's being charged with having killed somebody. So you're correct, that does happen. But there's 6,999 who did come home and who have done a good job. So I think a lot of it has to do with when people are in prison, what are we doing? And
that one person sent a big impact.
Yeah, agree.
He sent a bigger impact than 699 that did good.
Yeah, so we have to to make sure to tell the stories and lift up the stories of the ones who are doing well. Also, one of the most powerful things is more people are going behind the bars now to do literacy programs, to talk to women who are mothers behind bars or whatever. And when they get behind there, they're like, what the hell? Are we spending taxpayer money creating this much pain and suffering? And that's starting to have an impact.
But how do you stop them from being what's the word I'm looking for? Stereotype to that pain, suffer, addicted to it. I'm addicted to prison.
Trained in it.
I remember when I used to get locked up. I first got locked up in Spofford. I'm 12 years old. And I'm scared to death because I hear what they do to people in Spofford. But I'm on the streets with all those kids, the wild kids. I'm on the street. I'm a ghetto kid. I've never been arrested. I've been arrested, but I've never been locked up before. And so I'm scared. I'm going up there. I hear how they rape and they stab people up and they do up there. I'm scared to death. As soon as I get in there and they bring me to it was child time for breakfast. They bring me in there and it's, Dirty Mike, yo, Dirty. All my friends was in there.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm not worried. I got 200 guys right here. All my friends, all guys from Manhattan, guys from Brooklyn, people that we know in the streets from robbing and hustling, and they run the place. Matter of fact, I don't want to go home no more. I want to stay here.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Why?
Because all my comrades are here. This is my family. I got to go home in a stinking apartment of fucking rats and roaches. No food. fuck that 3 hots in a car, fighting, stabbing. Oh, this is what I live for. I don't want to go back home to nothing. If I go back home, I'll go get some money and get back in here.
Wow. Well, you know, for me...
Imagine that for 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, for me, you know, I'm...
That's one day.
Yes,
I see my friend and it's home. I'm happy. Then I am when I'm home. I'm happy here. They're going to stab somebody. They're going to fight for me. I don't got to worry about nobody hurting me. This is home.
You know, our lives are so different because, you know, I grew up in the rural South. My father was born in 1944, so segregation and poverty. Basically, what you would call a shotgun shack. They didn't call it a shack, but it was a shotgun house where each room is behind the next room, so you could fire a shotgun through the front door and hit everybody in the house. So that's how narrow the little property was that they had. And he joined the military to get out of poverty, put himself through college, put his little brother through college, put a cousin through college, married the college president's daughter, my mother, because my dad had it like that. He was he knew what he was doing. And so I was a total nerd. Like he would open up the refrigerator door. Like if I complained about anything, he's like, "Do you see this refrigerator? There's always been food in this refrigerator. There's always been food. What are you talking about?" I'm like, that's not that impressive to me, sir. You know, he's like, "Buy out," you know. It's like, so I missed that whole experience. And I wind up, when my father died, they put, the picture they put of him on the funeral program was him standing in front of Yale Law School with his fist in the air. You know, we did it, you know. And so I'm like one generation removed from all the stuff that he went through. But I was sitting listening to his, you know, him and my uncles and that sort of stuff, talking about that stuff. I mean, for me, I feel guilty. I almost feel as a black man like, I just have like survivor's guilt. I'm like, why me? So many guys that were smarter than me.
Listen, I say the same thing all the time to my wife. I say, smarter than me, got more power than me, more money than me, has a bigger family connection, everybody respect them. You know what I mean? And they didn't make it.
Right.
And I always say it's divinely guided. You know what I mean? We can't explain it, but we know it.
Yeah.
We know we're different.
Yeah. It's a I don't know, it's just a weird feeling, you know. I go into prisons a lot, just because I'm a lawyer, I'm trying to help people. And I just see all these brothers, and they're brilliant, strong, better looking, you know what I mean? Like everything, they have everything over me. I mean, if I had to compete with these guys, I would be their intern, you know what I mean? I'd have to work for these guys. But they've swept up all these black men and put them all out of competition. So then I go in there and I come home and I'm like, I mean, I just feel, that's why I fight so hard. Because I'm like, these guys deserve a shot. If these guys had a shot, they'd be running everything because they're that strong, they're that smart.
Oh, wow, you got the, you don't believe it either. This is interesting.
What?
You're pretty smart. Listen, you have nothing to do with that. You know, this is survival of the fittest. They look better than us. They perform better than us. And all due praise be to Allah, but they're not. It's an illusion. We're the survivors, we're the strongest, the survival of the fittest. And if you don't look at it like that, you're strongly mistaken. You think you went to all those schools by accident? You know what I mean? You were designed to do that. Your father went to, you think that was by accident? All designed to do that. My father was, they were street workers. They had me. Yeah, my brother's a doctor too, in emergency in LA, right? But listen, they're street people. And they had me, probably because they were horny. And look where I've been all over the world. Look all the people I've touched.
Crazy.
And touched me. And it's just not by accident. Because I had a low self-esteem, but still I'm a megalomaniac. I think I'm so special, you know? But no one can say the things that I can say about myself. Like I may say I'm a piece of shit. Someone else say that, it's a fight right away. Because I don't think that, but sometimes I think I need to be checked because my head is too big. And I think too much of myself. And I don't think nobody could check me but me.
Yeah, I watched the couple documentaries about you, which I have on my laptop. When I want to be inspired or challenged or whatever, I'll watch.
Really?
Yeah, man. The things that you've said, things that you've done. Customato and how like you met Muhammad Ali when you were a kid, like all these different things.
Yeah, I was in the
reform school. Yeah. I know your whole thing. I mean, but as a black man watching the things that you've done, the things that you've been through, your ups and your downs, your good decisions, your bad decisions, or whatever, it does provide a roadmap because, everything you do is so extreme. I mean, it's just like the king, like the biggest champion ever, like knocking people out or whatever, and then like having all these problems, and so you can learn from your whole arc. But I think for me, I was just a nerd. I didn't get in any trouble because my dad. I was just like scared of my dad, and I don't know what to do at this point. I'm 51. I work for President Obama. I work for Prince. I was a grassroots outsider, young radical militant. Then I became a White House insider. Targeted by the media, right-wing media. Now I'm a part of the media. I went to public schools in the rural South. I went to a fancy Ivy League school. I've kind of done 360. So I'm hard to fool. I've seen all these different points and parts. But after that, you don't know what to do. I don't know. You figured out how to do something, this podcast, whatever. But you can go through so many things in life.
Oh man,
that you don't really know what to do next.
You know what you do. I don't know if you do it that way, but maybe you can get on your knees. You can do it, and you can show gratitude and thank God for all the blessings that you got. Yeah. Thank Him for your beautiful eyesight, your hands, your feet, your touch, your beautiful children, your experience in life.
Gratitude.
That triples your blessings. I was such a selfish, self-centered person, and I'm still that way. But this time, I'm just very grateful, and I have a lot of gratitude.
But I saw you with your wife, and that was amazing. You you touching her hand and like doing all super sweet stuff.
Because my wife is I wouldn't even say my rock. My wife is my solar system. Without my wife, I'm a savage. I don't have no respect for women or nobody. Yeah. My wife makes me know that I'm a man. Makes me remember I'm a man and I'm not an animal.
How?
Excuse me?
How does she do that?
Just her existence, the nearness of her. Just the nearness of her. Just being close to her.
Now I saw that. It was crazy. Like, there's these little tiny gestures. Like nothing's really going on. All of a sudden I look over and you just touched her hand or you leaned over toward her or whatever, just put your head on her shoulder. I'm like, this is like the most fearsome.
No, it's just that, I knew my wife and I've been married for 10 years. I know my wife since she was 18. Yeah, and so we have an interesting relationship. And during my relationship, I've heard her many times, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't know. I don't want to say enlightened, but I've learned a few things over the years, and I don't want to be the cause of her pain anymore.
Yeah, God is good.
No, he's good when it looks bad too. He's always good. He's even good when he looks bad.
Yeah, it's awesome. It is awesome. It's been awesome to be here with you, Mike.
Awesome to be with you, man.
To watch your growth and your evolution over the last couple of years. It's amazing, dude.
I just learned. I know this. I know human beings are not meant to be humble. They're meant to be humbled. We have to learn to be humble. Because we have to know that, sometimes when we look at ants, me and my wife, one day we were watching my son play his baseball game, and we're sitting down and I said, babe, look at these ants, and all these ants and it's about the time of the season where they die. So by now, they've done everything within the summer. They've done everything within 2 months, whatever summer is, than we can do in a lifetime, right? And then I said, you know that, baby? And I said, I wonder this. Just like we're watching them, I wonder who's watching us. Because I think somebody has to be watching us like we're watching these ants, because we're great, but we're not that significant. Yesterday, if all those ants died, the world would die. If all the birds, if all the trees died, the world would die. Yeah. If all of us died, the world would flourish.
Yeah.
So we're not that hot shit.
Wow. That's dope.
You know, we're not really hot shit. Our egos. I look at my ego and I wish I could shoot myself in the head. Sometimes I think so many great things and I'm a god and all this shit, and then I have to go and take my son to baseball game.
Yeah.
Get your chores on.
Or go to the gym and ride the bike.
No shit.
Awesome.
Well, Van, you've got. I mean, you know, man. I think you're right on your destiny path.
What can we do to help you in
you're
this?
doing?
I mean,
this is important work you're doing, man.
I appreciate that.
And you have cultivated a very significant presence in the media. I believe that, and I think that the work you're doing right now is invaluable. And you know, I think you know exactly what you're doing, dude. You know?
Well, I tell you, I'm getting closer to God again. You know, part of what I think happened, you know, when you're an African-American man, you're a Democrat, and you decide you're going to work with Donald Trump.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, to pass a bill, you go through a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because I felt like we were in a dilemma, you know, a no-win situation. Either we just, because the Republicans had started to move in a better direction on criminal justice, you know, Rick Perry in Texas.
Weirdly.
Yeah, but listen, from their point of view, not from our point of view, but from their point of view, they don't want to see a big failed government bureaucracy eating up taxpayer money, making stuff worse.
Sure.
Some of them are Christians. They don't want to see no redemption. Some of them are libertarians. They don't want to see liberties being so they not for our racial justice, but for their own reasons.
Sure.
They had come around. And then Trump comes in, and Trump is like law and order, and you know, and was pushing the Republicans in the wrong direction again. And I had to make a decision. Democrats aren't as courageous when they feel like the Republicans are going to come after them and call them soft on crime and that kind of thing. And so the key to Democrats being strong is Republicans being strong. The key to Republicans being strong is Trump being strong. So if I got to go deal with Trump.
Yeah.
Or I could just say, well, I cared about black people under every other president. I cared about people in prison under Obama. I was in the White House every week under Obama begging, let people out. We got to have criminal justice. And now this new president comes in, I'm nowhere to be found.
Right.
So did I really care? Or was it ego? Was it career? So I got to go in there and I got to deal with the guy. And, you know, frankly, he shocked a lot of people. He signed a bill that's let out a bunch of people. He's done way more than people thought. But man, that was a tough process because, you know, people say, well, you're giving him a win. You're giving Trump a victory, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, but it's a dilemma.
Right.
If I can deny him a victory, but I'm also going to deny all these people in prison a victory.
Yeah.
I can give these people in prison a victory, but I'm giving him a victory. Well, I would rather for the people who I know don't have a voice to be able to come home and see their kids. They don't care who's in the White House. They want to come home to their mama's house. But man, I went through a lot. People that I respect and love say I was a sellout, an Uncle Tom, a coon, a traitor.
Listen, you tell me they're still talking like that in the 21st century?
Hey, listen,
They're calling black people coons and...
Well, first of all, we didn't hear enough of this in the media. We didn't hear enough about this in the media.
About the victory?
Yes.
Yes, the First Step Act victory?
Yeah, the First Step Act.
Yeah, no, I mean, we think about it now. December 22nd, I believe it was, maybe December 21st, Trump signs the First Step Act, which the New York Times says is the most substantial breakthrough in criminal justice in a generation.
Yes.
It made it where women can't be shackled anymore in federal prisons when they're pregnant. It made it where people have to be held closer to their families. It made it where half people in federal prison can earn their way home sooner by doing a bunch of good stuff. Programs and stuff. 100% can come home sooner if they just stay out of trouble, and 7,000 people got a chance to come home. So that's a pretty big deal. But if you're the liberal media, do you want to give Trump that big victory?
Right.
Probably
CNN's not going to show that shit.
You know, they showed it for a minute, but you know, then the next day I think the government shut down. They're off to other issues. And if you're the conservatives, you know, you kind of like it, but
politics is like religion in a way.
Yeah, and so you wind up with this. With nobody knows what to do. It doesn't fit the narrative,
and that's why people don't want.
Right.
That's why people don't want to be involved with religion, because religion is like this. If you don't have the ideology that we have, or won't change our ideology, you're going to hell. That's basically all religion, the Christian, Muslim. That's all religion. If you don't follow us, you're pretty much
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wound up being.
And so politics are like that too. If you don't go with this way, you're wrong.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Now, I'm a lot closer to God.
Well, that happens when you get in your 50s.
Yeah.
Because you're close to your mortality. It's any moment, that's like when we did the total, it's going to be over soon. It's a possibility we ain't going to see another 50
Right.
or 20, 30. So we have to prepare ourselves for death. We do it without even, unconsciously, we prepare for death.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what happens. As soon as we're born, we start preparing for our death. First moment we're born, without unconsciously knowing, we start preparing for it.
Are you ready?
Huh?
Do you feel ready?
Absolutely. I think I was living too long.
I don't think anybody agrees with that. Why do you say that?
It's just, what are we here for? That's our purpose. Our purpose is to die and go to another place. And sometimes, and some of us in our difficulties in handling that stage of life, we kill ourselves before it's our time. Because it's frightening about dying, but sometimes the thought of living while thinking about dying is too much.
Mm-hmm.
So you say this is what I said at one stage. God made me, I wasn't doing anything. No one asked to be here. I was made, and now I got to worry about dying. And then as I got older, I realized life was glorious. The worst of life is glorious. And I said, death has to be glorious as well as life. Because the two, how could they not be? How could death not be glorious and life is glorious? Life is glorious if you're homeless or a beggar. It's in hell. Life is nothing. It's nothing better.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're deeper than I know.
We go deep, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I look at my kids now, and I got a 15-year-old boy who's as tall as me, and super. Like you were talking about, how your kids are like really smart and doing all kind of good stuff. Like I got my older boy is like a 4.0 and taking physics and Mandarin, and he's like a soccer player and all that stuff.
Dope.
And I watch him, but he's living a totally different life than I lived when I was growing up. Because I wasn't good in school and I wasn't a good athlete. So I watch this guy, and I'm like, someday I'm not going to be here, and he's going to talk about who his dad was. Life just goes on.
Yeah.
And hopefully, he'll do well, and his little brother's 11. Hopefully he'll do well. But yeah, it does, man. It's crazy. Also, I have nothing left to prove for myself in terms of to be able to walk into the Trump White House and come out with a victory for our people, even though it wasn't seen, even though it wasn't recognized, even though I was criticized. I know what we did.
Dude, that's so huge.
And
so huge.
And so for me, I am thinking about what these next 5, 10, 20, 30 years are going to be. And I agree with you, gratitude is important. But I'm at a crossroads.
What are you grateful for right now?
Oh, right. Well, my kids.
Yeah.
My boys are like amazing. I mean, my little boy is emotional and difficult and creative, kind of like me. And then the big boy is like super like smart and pretty well disciplined, especially for a teenager, like his mom. And so I get a chance to watch these like smaller versions of us, you know what I mean, going through the stuff that they go through. And I'm thinking, listen, man, I mean, to get a chance to work, the Reform Alliance is amazing. I got to sit in rooms with like, billionaires who care about people behind bars.
That's great.
And you just like, and they're not half-stepping. They're not messing around. They're like, we got to do something. Most people don't know that there are people at high places that care.
Hey, you ever think about you?
What do you mean?
Why you do this? Why are you?
Don't y'all have no commercial breaks today? I don't have to sell nothing.
Really?
What do you mean?
Why do you do what you do?
Why are you interested in this?
Why do you care about motherfucking prison that sold somebody some bad drug that might died?
Even when I was a child, I just had a lot of feelings, and empathy. Like we lived in the country, gravel road. No, we had like a septic tank, and no street lights and stuff like that. So at night, you could see everything because there's no street lights or whatever. But also there's a lot of animals, and so you see death. You're a little kid, you're looking out the window, and all of a sudden it's like there's like a dead dog or a dead frog or a dead deer or whatever. It's like just smashed up on the side of the road. And my parents got to the point they wouldn't let me look out the window because I'd be crying for like a day over some like dog that I saw, and why, and whatever. So I was always been really sensitive, and
you're an empath.
Yeah, and so, and then my dad was tough, and I wasn't, and so that was an issue in the house. He was afraid that I was gay or whatever he was afraid of. But he was this tough kid, grew up in the not even the hood, like really poor, and then was in the military. And so he's this big, tough, he had been a cop in the military and this type of thing. And I got this like little kid that cries all the time and like,
little nerd.
Yeah, little nerd. So it was like an issue in the house. And so I would read comic books and stuff, and I would read about these great heroes who would, they were like a nerd, like Clark Kent or Peter Parker, but then they would like, become a hero and I just think that imprinted on my brain that I wanted to go out and help people. I don't know why. There's no one thing that happened. I just knew from a very small age I wanted to help people, and also suddenly I look up, I'm like 6'1", almost 200 pounds. I was like this big, like all through high school, even into college, like a little scarecrow with big glasses, getting picked on, and then all of a sudden I'm not. And I felt like I could do something. But people have asked me a lot of times, I don't have a good answer except to know that I hate bullies. I hate when somebody has power and abuses it. I hate to see anybody being mistreated. And it doesn't feel like a choice to me. It's just like almost like an automatic reaction trying to do something. And so I've just spent my whole life fighting for other people, maybe for my own glory and stuff. But at the same time, I know if I was just after the glory, I'd be a lot more famous. Like I'm only just famous enough to be able to fight my fight. I don't want
Really, that's what you think?
Yeah.
This all from your perception?
Yes, sir. What do you think?
I think you're more famous than you think you are.
Yeah.
I think your ego's bigger than you think it is too, but I think you're more famous than you think you are. But you don't think you're that famous. That's really weird.
Well, I mean, I work with like Anderson Cooper and Jay-Z. Like these guys are like legends. Like, they're at your level.
Right. What did you just say? What did you just say? Say it again. What you just say? Say what you just said again.
I said I work with legends.
Boom. That's it. You don't work with them unless you're their equal. They may not think that, but why are they talking to you? Why are you talking to them? Why are you talking to me? I'm real happy to be talking to you. I've seen you talk to all those big shots. So now, whatever insecurities I have, I don't have them no more because I talk to you too, just like those big shots did.
Yeah. Well, you're the biggest big shot.
No, but that's the most insecure people in the world are the most powerful ones. Remember that. They'll say whatever, How could you not be insecure? Because if you're insecure in the position that you're in position to lose that position. We can never be secure in our position because there's always somebody gunning for it.
True.
So how can you be secured when somebody's gunning for you? That's not, that's not a secure position to be in.
Yeah, like uneasy. Where's the head? Whatever the crown or whatever
Where's
it is.
the crown?
Shakespeare stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Y'all podcast is more difficult.
Hey, dude, it's all good. Wait.
Because we think about who are we? What is our person? Do you ever think about who's the first you? Whatever, the first man, the oldest man is 4.4 million years old, right, Lucy? So 4.4 million years. Where was the first you? Who you think you were? Think you were Asian? You think you were white? You think you were African? What do you think you were? Mongolian? What do you think you were? The first you, think 4.4 million years ago. The first male, your sperm. What do you think you were? Where do you think you were at?
I mean,
they say Africa.
They say Africa, yeah.
But then they found out there's a country under Turkey that's 9,000 years old.
Yeah, so I have no idea.
Now they got to rewrite history. What do we know? How do you rewrite history when you find something, a problem like that? I don't know.
No idea.
You don't know anything. We know what somebody told us. You don't even know how old you are. You're 51 because Julius Caesar said you're 51. Julius Caesar said, I'm 53, so I'm 53. He said I was born in 1966 AD, so that's when I was born. Now, I didn't get no information from nobody. I didn't do no research, but the research I did find out that this guy told me how old I was. So I don't know anything about myself. That what I do know, that I went to prison, I did this, I became champ, I work here, I do this stuff now. But that's what I know. But after that, I don't know anything about, nothing about me. I don't know if I'm from another planet and we were planted here. I don't know anything. What do you know?
Less than I thought. I know.
Everybody's trying to figure out the word. What's the key? What's the magic key? And somebody told me, especially for black people, he said, the answer is so simple, but for black people, it has to be complicated. It has to be real complex to be the answer. If it's right in front of you, it can't be the answer. The answer to everything is really so easy. But just because it's so easy, we can never figure it out. Because we're so intellectual. It has to be some 8-packs intellectual stuff that we can't pronounce, like Nietzsche or something. You know what I mean? Whatever.
Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm glad to meet you guys. I mean, I think you're doing something.
What'd you write, Van?
I wrote down bipartisan because I wanted to make sure to underscore that Republicans are doing some good things. 'Cause I feel like they're so polarized that we almost don't want to give the other side credit when they're right.
Yeah.
Now look, when they're wrong, and listen, there's a lot of stuff we're just not going to agree about.
Right.
And that's in a democracy where you disagree, you're supposed to fight. In democracy, you're not supposed to agree. Dictatorship, you have to agree. Democracy means you can have your opinion, you can have yours, you can have yours. But when we disagree, we're supposed to fight. But where we do agree, we're supposed to work together. And we've stopped doing that. So I always try to remind myself to point that out. And then I wrote down my son. I wanted to make sure to give him some credit.
How can anybody work with a dictator? I don't think there should ever be a dictator. I should think that should be illegal.
Agree.
No one should be a dictator.
Well, in our country, it is illegal.
But still listen, Napoleon said this to his mother. There'll always be kings, even if they go by different names. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Trump is running this country like he's a king.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. He feels like a king.
Yeah.
And people treat him like a king. So he lives like a king. And people love it. Because everybody wants to be a king in their sick mind.
Yeah. Well, he's...
Everybody think they're a king in their own world, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Even though my wife is the boss of my house, I believe I'm a king. I believe I'm the king. I have the title.
Yeah, that's a great quote by Napoleon. Van, what do you see? I mean, I know criminal justice reform is going to be huge in this coming election.
They're letting out damaged people.
Well, but I do see it differently because, yes, there are some people who come home with kind of, who've had challenges, but usually my experience has been the majority of people who are coming home, they really want to land on their feet and do well. And we've got to do a better job of giving them a place to land.
I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn, okay?
Yeah.
And this is what I know. What is it they call the return rate, recidival rate? What is it?
Very high, 67%.
Yeah, from Brownsville, Brooklyn, man, it must be 80%, if not more. Everybody I know that's been locked up has been repeat offenders. Me, all my friends. They're all in jail now or dead or strung out on drugs. Very few of them I see from Brownsville.
So you're saying that we need to make sure that there's a program when they come home, they can land on their feet. You're not saying leave them in there forever. You're saying when they come home,
they need a program.
Well, I mean,
they need it. I'm just a strong believer because it helped me. I just know it helps.
Yeah.
I know
what would be, a
program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
what types of things?
Like an Outlook program. You have to go, before you find a job, you have to get a skill for the job. You have to be able to have almost like hospitality skills to take care of yourself in the workplace.
I think we should spend a lot more time. First of all, I think we should put a lot.
Getting along with workers. You're coming out of prison talking to people crazy. Now you got to go in the workplace. What did you say? You have to be very careful after talking to somebody, what you say to somebody that did 20 years in prison. It's all about respecting how they talk to. It's just a different world.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't say, hey, fuck off, all right, dude?
Yeah.
It's just different. That's to them, that's the
Right.
biggest disrespect. He told me to fuck off.
Right.
You know, you got to change that mindset before we get in the workplace.
Yeah.
I think as much time and energy as we spent building up these prisons, we're locking people up. You know, $140,000 per year per young person locked up. You could send 2 kids to Yale.
Crazy.
It's a racket.
It's a racket. So
It's crazy.
what I would say is now take that same amount of energy, keep that same energy, put fewer people in, make sure when they come home, they do have those kind of programs and we'll be all right. The problem is that we spend so much time and energy damaging people and then we don't want to spend any money when they come
So
home.
this is what we
Right.
do. These guys that we're in prison, they're making these places, they're making these things in these prisons. The people who they're making them for, they should make it a possibility for when these guys get out, after making all that money for our company, they should be able to be civilized. I don't know the proper word to say, but you know.
But
Yeah,
they say
civilized,
rehabilitated,
sure.
transform, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Because listen, man, I know what they do behind it, and all of a sudden you go let these guys out.
Yeah, but I say bring them home and keep that same energy to make sure they come home the right way. That's what I say.
Oh, absolutely, bring them home. But what you gonna bring them home to? That's gonna be. What are you gonna do if you let a lion out of the cage
Out of the
after
cage.
20 years and just let them go in the population?
I like I said, you and I agree that the way people come home should matter, and we
Yes.
should from the moment somebody goes in, and you know, I wish that fewer people would go in. We should be thinking about that day they come home, and every single day should be supported. Look, right now, nobody makes money when the people go home and do well. They make money when people go and they come back, return customers.
Yes.
And what we've got to do, we got to change the financial incentive. I want a warden to be rewarded. I would say, listen, of all these 5, 6 people, if they leave on Friday and they come back on Monday with their best friends, you're fired. If they leave on Friday and they stay gone for 3 years and they've been productive, we should give you $1 million because you just saved us so much money. In other words, you should get a reward for every person who leaves your prison and does a good job. Now, every day you're in my prison, I'm doing yoga with you.
Right.
I'm teaching you how to read.
Meditation.
You know what I mean? Because that's
Yeah.
money coming back into my pocket. There's no financial incentive
awesome.
to make
I
people
love that.
do a good job.
That's America. I looked at a few years ago. I watched this program about students. Like you say in Germany, you're a young kid, 16, 15. Fuck school. I don't want to go to school. Right? I want to smoke weed. Not the police. The government takes you, and we train you to work on our BMWs and our Mercedes Benz and work with everything. You only got to go to school for 3 hours here. You got to go to class for
Vocational
3
training.
hours. But you got to work on our computers and stuff on the cars. And so this guy is working on our cars. So now he has a job. He doesn't like school. You don't like school, we'll give you a job here.
Yeah.
And they give you enough schooling so you can graduate from high school and you keep your job here.
And then you're not out there causing
Yeah, but
havoc.
you're working.
Right.
You don't like school. You're playing hooky. Oh, I'll take care of you. Hey, you do it in Japan, for instance, in Japan, great student. The business, what's those the radio companies and stuff from Japan,
Like Sony or-
Sony,
Yeah,
Kobayashi, all those places.
Yeah.
They make deals with the school. If you give me 200,000 good workers, I promise them jobs. In America, if you don't make it, it's on you.
Yeah.
When you're born, if you don't do nothing,
You're a
to make
fuck
some
up.
money, it's on you. You fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
it's
government
crazy.
and the school system work together.
Yeah, they're
The business and the government work together.
Yeah, there are a lot of better ways. If you see every kid as your kid, you have a totally different system than if you say, oh, well, those kids, their kids. Nobody says, oh, my kid's on drugs. Give him 17 years in prison. Nobody's ever said that about their own kid.
Right.
But your kid, give him 50 years. And so that's a spiritual crisis. That's a humanizing, the opposite
They
of.
don't see no hope in us.
Yeah.
And by our government not seeing hope in us, we don't see hope in ourselves. You know what I mean? So they don't see a better hope in life. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're desperate. I don't see a better hope. Why the hell I gotta go to school? Why I gotta listen to my mother? Why I'm gonna die anyway? They killed my father. They killed my brother. How am I gonna survive?
Yep. Van, how do you feel about the MORE Act, Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act of 2019?
Look, I'm all for it. Look, I'm a nerd. I've never had a beer. I've never smoked a smoked marijuana. I've never.
Interesting guy, man. I mean,
Those
I know a
smoking
couple
J's?
of guys like you.
Yeah.
Interesting. I couldn't imagine living without that stuff.
I've never,
shit.
never had a sip of champagne. I've never had a sip of wine. None. So I can say, as a complete nerd, anti-drug nerd, that I'm against the drug war because it doesn't work, and it's never been prosecuted. Look, there's more drugs at a country club, yacht club, Ivy League school. Ask me how I know. I know. I've been to all those places. Way more drugs in those contexts than on a street corner in the hood. So now that they're making it legal, marijuana, every single person who is convicted of that, it should just be wiped off their record.
Yeah.
And all the money coming in, the tax money, should be going back to those communities, back to those individuals, and helping them get on their feet. And otherwise, it's just another situation where black people created a market, white people come and exploit it. When we did it, it was illegal. They do it now; it's legal. And
when we did rap music in the street, the cops came and shut us down.
Yeah.
Now the cops come to stop the people from breaking in the stores from stealing it.
yeah, I mean,
Ain't that a trip?
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen it my whole life. You know, I got a chance to work with Prince. I did all of his philanthropic work for about 6 years.
What was that like?
Yeah. Prince, that's dope.
He was a very interesting guy. I met him a couple of times. He was very interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean, he saved my life, man, because, you know, when I worked for Obama, I only worked there for about 6 months, and then the right-wing media came after me because I was a young militant and stuff, and they're bringing back all this stuff from when I was younger. So, and they're also making up stuff.
Tell me some stuff about you when you were younger. What did you do to make them think you were a militant?
I was a Marxist. I was suing cops. I was protesting everything I could. I was every ist I could find that was against the system. Nationalist, Marxist, anarchist, any ist. Because I was pissed off. Look, man, if you're in your early 20s, I mean, we were the same age. I mean, you know, we in the 80s, you know, that was when Public Enemy and Spike Lee and NWA came out. So they had put it in our mind that we needed to stand up for ourselves. And then we get in the 90s, we finally get rid of Reagan and Bush. We got Clinton, and Clinton's worse. And he's dropping all these terrible, you know, bills against us. And
he has us brainwashed. Clinton has more black people brainwashed than liquor, man.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. I mean, look, all that whole sick clique, all of them. Look, I appreciated Bill Clinton more after he was president, when he was doing, he doesn't get credit for afterwards, when he was doing the Clinton Global Initiative and raising millions of dollars and helping people around the world. But when he was president, he was weak on affirmative action, weak on welfare, weak on anything black, weak on criminal justice. And so I was mad, and I felt like my parents had lied to me. You know, my dad had been in the military, and, you know, liberty and justice for all and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, I'm at this law school, and I can look down this street to the university and see kids buck wild who are going to be senators, and I can look down this street in New Haven to Housing Project and kids who are doing less bad stuff who are all going to be in prison. I don't see, and so I'm like, my dad lied to me. This whole system lied to me. So I was on the left side of Pluto. I was considered a left-wing radical.
But your father didn't lie to you. He was just told you information he was fed.
Right, exactly. He was just passing it along. But, you know, so, you know, when I was in, I was considered a left-wing radical in the Bay Area. You have to work hard to be considered a left-wing radical in San Francisco and Berkeley and Oakland. But that's where that stuff came from, though. Yeah, exactly. So I was in all of that in my 20s. When I got to my 30s, I burned out because there was just too many protests, too many funerals with community kids and who I'd work with or who I cared about in caskets. And grown people with gray hair sitting up in the pews, like the opposite of how it's supposed to be. And we're just banging our heads against the wall, and I couldn't see how we could make a difference. So I burned out, and I decided to try and do something more positive for the community, bringing jobs. And we had just passed all of these solar bills and stuff in California. So I said, why don't we get these kids on the street corner jobs putting up the solar panels? Solar panels don't put themselves up. And these people are ordering all these solar panels, and they're taking 3 months, 6 months, 9 months because nobody knows how to put them up. So I got the city of Oakland to start a program called the Green Jobs Corps to train these kids to put up solar panels. Nancy Pelosi found out about it. She had just become Speaker of the House the first time. She said, bring Van Jones to Washington, D.C. I was a nobody. I was a local activist to talk to all of my Democratic Congress members about this idea. George W. Bush then signs a bill called the Green Jobs Act to spread my little program in Oakland all across the country. That's 2007. 2008, I wrote a book about it. The book became a bestseller. people on Barack Obama's team read the book. 2009, I'm in the White House. So I go from being a frontline grassroots activist in like a 2-year period to being in the White House. So when the right-wing media figured, I said, wait, I was like, this dude, Mr. F the police, Mr. suing cops, Mr. down with the system is now in the White House? No, this is not gonna work. So then I said, Prince saved my life because when I left the Obama White House, he picked me up.
All right, so cool. That's awesome. What's that mean?
What does what mean?
What just happened? What you just told me, what's all that mean? How do you perceive that? You perceive that all from your hard work? Do you think that happened because you work hard?
Well, what do you think?
No, I just want to know what you think. Do you think that happened because you were grinding and working hard?
It felt like all of a sudden I was like walking down the street and I put my foot down on what I thought was the asphalt, and it was like a magic carpet, and it just took off. And all of a sudden I'm in places I've never been. I'm seeing people I would never thought I would meet. I don't know.
I know what this is now. You're in your 50s now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's your mission. Figure out all this stuff. Why is this shit going on? It's not going to stop. You got to figure it out. Why is this going on? I'm thinking that too, right? I'm thinking this. I came in here a few years ago. They decided to make this show. I thought this is a fucking joke. I'm going to be an asshole. I'll be like, fuck yeah. And then we get a guest that's what's he, a shaman?
Shaman, yeah.
A shaman. I don't know what a shaman is. That sounds Jewish to me, right? So I see him. He's not, he doesn't appear to look Jewish, so he's Mexican, right? I know you can be Mexican and Jewish too, so I'm just checking him out. So he's talking about this toad and this venom and stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Let me see. I'm on cocaine. I'm doing this, and I said, let me see this shit. And he said, well, you can't do it right here. I said, what kind of shit you talking about you can't do? Because I'm used to doing drug, smoke, sniff, whatever. It's right here. And he likes to stay in a crack pipe. He's like some toad venom. I smoke it because I'm a fucking drug aficionado, and I smoke. And it goes out, and I die. And I just die, and it was the most profound moment in my life. There's never been in my life, not even my children, there's never been nothing that profound. The experience that I've seen or felt. And this one particular time, it just felt like I felt all the pain that I caused everybody that I've experienced in my life. I caused pain. I felt the pain. It was humiliating. It's just, I thought I'm a tough guy. I think I'm a bad motherfucker. I saw the God of War. And I fucking disintegrated in his presence. I was nothing. I just, poof. And I guess I never looked at people the same. I treated them the same ever since. And then that's the closest I've ever felt to experience anything divinely or godly. It was so overwhelmingly breathtaking. Everybody has different experiences. And every time you do it, it's a different experience. It's not like you get prepared for it. It's always taking you somewhere else.
I feel that I have a calling on my life. I feel
that's what I wanted to get in touch. I want you to get in touch with that calling. Why do you feel you had who gave you that calling? You had to see somebody.
I remember being a child, and I would always want to go in the backyard at night and lie down on my back and look up at the stars. 'Cause like I said, we didn't have street lights, so you could see literally every star. And I'd be out there, and my mom I could see her opening they had a glass door, like a back door, and she'd be like, Anthony, because my name is Anthony. Anthony, get in this house. And I would say, I'm praying, Mom, I'm praying. She goes, you can pray in your bed, get in this house. But there was just something I just felt, and I was probably like 6, 7. I just felt the presence of God. I felt that was something I was supposed to do. I felt, when I was a child, they would show us, Bobby Kennedy and Dr. King and these guys. And you forget, like now they've been dead for so long, it's like not that big of a deal. But if you're born in 68, that's the year they were killed. So when you're in kindergarten, that's just 5 years ago. Now imagine if somebody killed Obama right now, a child that was born that year. 5 years later, they don't know. So I remember this kid named Patrick Carmody in my kindergarten class asked my teacher, Miss Brown, who was Bobby Kennedy? And she started crying like a baby. And I never seen an adult cry. I didn't even really know that adults could cry, because they were so, you stop crying. So, and I was like, whoa. And I asked my mom, and she was stumbling around her words and stuff. And I just felt, again, that these guys died the year I was born. Bobby Kennedy was trying to do something positive. Dr. King was trying to do something positive. For some reason, it felt like I was supposed to take up their cause. But it's not rational because other kids heard the same thing, read the same thing, and they didn't do what I was doing. So all I can say is that my whole life, I never had to guess what I was going to do. I always knew I was going to work for justice, help people, write and fight. That was the two things I wanted to do. I was too nerdy to fight, but in my mind, I was preparing. So I feel like there's a calling on my life. I feel almost now, like I said, I have nothing else to prove. I've gotten 4 presidents in a row to do something positive that I believed in. And the world is a shambles and all this stuff is happening, all this polarization. I don't care what the Republicans or Democrats think. I don't care what white or black think. I just want, that's where I'm stuck. There's a prayer that's trying to come through me that I've got to get myself completely cleaned out and able to channel so I can really find out what God wants for me to do going forward.
I can dig that. I can dig that.
There's nothing really rational about following your destiny path because you're just divinely guided by spirit, so... I mean, it makes total sense to me, man.
No, well, I'm glad it makes sense to you.
Listen, I was 12 years old. 13, I met this old Italian guy, right? He became my mentor and trainer, right? When I first met him, I was a fucking, wow. So, such a low self-esteem. Especially he was white, so I was really, all the white people I knew was judges or the cops that arrest me, all of a sudden, I'm that kind of guy. I'm thinking about robbing a house. I'm a fucking little thief. I'm sleazy. I'm just devious. And all of a sudden, this guy talks to me, and I'm like a fucking rat. And next thing I know, I want my name to be mentioned with Achilles and Alexander the Great. How does that happen? You come from nothing, then you take yourself serious. You have an illusion of yourself that I'm great or I'm somebody. I don't know how that happened, but it does.
That was Customata?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was really always brought out the best in people.
Yeah, your relationship with him is just unbelievable, and his love for you and the way that you kind of saved him.
Yeah, that's what he always said. I was reading one of his quotes, and he was telling people in 1982 that I have a 15-year-old kid who's going to be the next heavyweight champ. In 1982. Crazy. I say to myself, who is this guy? Where did he come from? How did he get tired? He was 57 years old when I was born. How did he stay alive enough to meet me and to teach me that in a short period of time I accomplished this?
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Man, it's really an honor to meet you, man.
No, it's all good. Thank you. It's a pleasure as well.
Yeah, Van, it's really it's a pleasure to have you here, man. Before we get out of here,
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you your thoughts on a couple more things.
Okay.
The Rodney Reed case.
Who's Rodney Reed?
Rodney Reed is a man on death row in Texas right now.
Sure.
Wasn't that on television?
Yes.
On CNN sometime?
Yeah, it's been all over the news.
Yeah.
Then they stopped the stay of execution or something?
Yes.
He's getting a new trial.
So he's getting a new trial. I was just curious your thoughts on that, and
Look, there are 2 camps around his case in terms of trying to get some kind of justice. There was a camp that just said free him, and there's a camp that said give him a fair trial. I was in the fair trial camp. I don't know if he's guilty or innocent. I know the trial was effed up, and I don't care if you're the Nazis got trials, the Nuremberg trials.
Right.
I don't care what you did, you deserve a fair trial. Otherwise, we're not who we're supposed to be. So I'm glad he's getting a new trial. I have no idea if he's guilty or innocent. I never took a position on that. It's amazing though how we have so many bad cases out there. Dr. Phil, for whatever reason, latched on this dude's case, and then suddenly we were able to get something done.
But it's always like that. One of those people, prominent Caucasian citizens, have to say something.
And then it breaks
to
it.
wake their mind up that, hey, this could be right because he said it. Or instead of like this. He could say the lie and it's the truth, and I could say the truth and it's questionable.
Yeah, and so, for me, a lot of people in the criminal justice world, they resent the power of celebrity in this thing. I don't. My view of it is, any weapon, whatever, David was picking up rocks with a sling, whatever you can use to free people,
Sure.
you should use. And so, and I'm actually glad that more celebrities are getting involved. But I think we have to be careful and be reasonable, and like I said, a fair trial versus free. I want you to have confidence in me. A year later, if some bad facts come out, I listened to Van and he was saying free the guy.
I just know from history, Van.
Yeah.
We made mistakes on letting out the wrong people too.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
That Abbott guy, remember that guy Abbott back in the 70s?
Mm-hmm.
Norman Mailer and them got him out of prison and stuff. They wrote the book. What's the book they wrote? Belly of the... It was about Jack Abbott, and then he got out in the restaurant, and I guess the waiter said something, and he thought it was disrespectful, and he killed him.
Yeah, I mean, we remember those things, but
I'm not saying this guy is guilty, but I'm saying those things are out there as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Is
You have
like,
to get both sides of it.
well, we have all these people out here who've never been to prison who are going to commit a crime for the first time right now. We don't say lock up all those people just in case they could commit a crime. But my view about it is that we do have to be, we have to proceed responsibly because we don't want this movement to be destroyed by reckless, decisions. So with that case, I'm glad that he's getting a new trial.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good.
I think the country that we live in, I hate to be pessimistic, the country that we live in is not ready for justice yet.
Well, we're going to get them ready.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to say to you. What is it that this Tyson Ranch or Hotboxin can do to help you in your cause? Because I have some brothers that I grew up with that I go visit in prison up there in Otisville, New York, and they got a couple of life sentences in '99. It's just bad. It's just drug-related crime. No one got killed. There's nothing on the record, and it's really just they're growing old in there.
Yeah. Well, I think in my heart we need to let them come home. I mean, whatever we thought in the 80s and the 90s was going to be a positive, locking up all these people for all this time, it's not turned out to be positive. At some point, if you have a child and they make a bad decision, you want them to revisit that decision and do better. But the grown people don't do that. The adults pass these laws. The adults built these prisons. The adults, are the ones guarding all these people, and we know it's wrong. And so, I'm not going to stop until, and again, some of the stuff is just like, I call it, like we need to build like an anti-stupid coalition. Like some of the stuff is just stupid.
What do you think they're going to do to us next? That's what most African Americans think. What are they going to do to us next?
I see it differently, and here's what I say. Why you asked me about why me? I don't have any good answers, but I can tell you this: all of these African people who were brought over here 400 years ago, and they haven't brought that many of us over here since. And so so I'm a ninth generation American, and I'm the first one in my family born with all my rights recognized by this government in 1968. So think about that. They stopped bringing us here like 150 years ago. But here we are, and for all of our problems and all of our pain and all of our suffering, this community of people, not only in terms of the level of creativity and music and art, but politically, we're against every war, black community. Rich black people vote like poor black people, taxes, programs, all that type of stuff. We're like a saving grace in this country. Like we, as wild as we are toward each other, collectively we bring a wisdom, we bring a grace, we bring a beauty to this country that I think is going to be the saving grace of this country. And so I believe that that's why we were brought here. I think if you just had these people who came over here as like cowboys killing people and stuff and gave them a country this rich just for them to run, it would be one of the worst things ever. But we're here, and we keep challenging the conscience of America from within. And we keep saying, but you put on paper liberty and justice for all, and you're not doing it. You put on paper America the beautiful, but we're being ugly. There's something of our suffering is redemptive because we keep challenging this country to be better. And this country would not be a democracy except for us. it was a settler colonial slave state at its founding. And they fought a civil war to turn it into apartheid because you had 100 years, it was segregation. It still wasn't democracy. It wasn't democracy until a couple years before you and I were born, when Dr. King and Ella Jo Baker and all those people made it a democracy. So, Dr. King is like the final founder in a way. It took them 200 years to even get to where we are now.
Wow.
And we were pushing the whole time abolition and justice and labor and all these things. So for me, I don't ask what are they going to do to us next. I say, well, how are we going to continue to evolve our capacity to be a saving grace in this planet? How do we keep our humanity? How do we continue to be who we're supposed to be? And I don't know if we're going to succeed or fail, but I'm a lot more. I see us as the agent of history. I don't see us as the object, the victim. I see us as the agent of history, and that's for me. That's my calling.
That's pretty awesome too. That's extremely awesome. And I go always by this. I look at this situation African Americans are in now, 2020, and I remember 1895. That's when Frederick Douglass was dying, and he had said there's no hope in the black race. He died with no hope for the black people. And then you look at guys like you, myself, and everybody else. He was one of the greatest minds that ever lived, and he was so wrong.
Yeah, I know.
One of the greatest minds, our greatest leaders, he was so wrong.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's
He had no hope for the black race. At like 1895, he thought there was no hope for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just the way the laws were, the Jim Crow back then, it was just so oppressive.
But we fought through, and there's 40 million of us now. Like I said, they stopped bringing us over here a long time ago. So the people, literally the same people,
eliminate us now.
Exactly. But the thing about the same people he was looking at, saying there's no hope. They didn't.
President of the United States.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, they didn't stop. Listen, because that's why I know nobody knows anything. I don't care who you are, how brilliant you are. When when the universe starts to make their plans, it just happens.
Yeah.
This world is going to be okay. As bad as we think, global warming is going to take us out and all this. This world's been here for a long time, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah,
Or else it's going to be like the rest of the planets around us.
Yeah. Dust.
Yeah.
Like Mars.
We don't know what's on there,
We might have come from there.
That's what they're talking about.
Could be.
Hey, Van. Well, I wanted to ask you about Colin Kaepernick.
What's up with that guy?
What do you think?
Did he look good in his practice? I was watching his
He
practice.
looked okay.
Yeah?
He
I
looked
don't know if
okay.
he looked good, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he had gone to the practice that they set up for him.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I know that Jay-Z and Desiree and the folks at Rock Nation fought very hard behind the scenes. I'm represented by Rock Nation. They fought very
Is
hard.
that Cap's agency?
No. But
They were helping.
yeah, helping. Like
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
J-
Consulting.
I believe
and-
Jay-Z's doing it right. I think they're too hard on Jay-Z. Maybe I'm biased because I'm a Brooklyn guy.
Love Jay-Z.
But I think they is too hard. I think I see a little green-eyed monster in this situation when Jay-Z's involved.
I agree.
Everybody else.
No, look, I agree. Listen, Jay-Z's a billionaire. He didn't have to sit down with the NFL and do anything. But there's going to be announcements made in terms of the amount of money that's coming from the NFL to the hood for the first time, even beyond what's been done before. And he fought very hard behind the scenes to give Colin Kaepernick his chance. And as did the masses. I mean, the masses are and were with Colin, saying, "Hey, listen, this brother should be able to speak his mind and go out there and play this game." But to me, if I'm going for a job interview and it's at 9 o'clock on this corner, and I change my mind and say, no, I want to do my job interview at 8:30 or 10 o'clock on another building,
Yeah.
that gives them an excuse not to give me the job.
Yeah.
And that's my problem. I just wish that he had just go. I mean, it's not for you. It's for all these children who are looking at you as a hero and as somebody who's like the Muhammad Ali of our time.
Right.
Like, go and knock the dude out. Be Muhammad Ali. Go and throw the ball in their face.
Yeah.
And when you don't do that, now they have an excuse forever. Well, we would have if you. Now, come on, man.
Yeah.
So I just wish that he had just gone and done it how they. Listen, just humble yourself for 1 second and do it how they said do it. Show the whole world. Now, if they don't give you anything, we can march and protest, and the whole world will know that you were stolen. It was stolen from you because you were there and you did it. Now it's always going to be a question mark.
He doesn't know how to play the game.
Yeah, it's always going to be a question mark now.
He doesn't want to play the game. We
He's
all
making
play
it
the
really
game.
complicated.
You know, we all play the game. I don't care who you are, how tough you are. We all dancers here.
Yeah.
That's what. Hey, listen. That's what my son was asking about the thing. It's like, well, you know, Colin should be able to do. I said, white people can't tell you when the job interview is. You know what I mean? Like, that's not racism. Like, no white man can go to a white man and say, I'm going to tell you, you're going to do my job interview over here. I said, white people don't even have that much rights. You know what I mean? You got to show up at the job interview when they say, even if you're white.
Right.
So that what you think will happen to us? So that's not racism at that point. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, can you just go and tell when you got this job? Did you just tell them when you? No, you know, even white people can't do that.
No.
So
I appreciate that.
yeah. Anyway.
Well, Van, you're the man, dude.
Well, thank you.
You're the fucking man. Thank you for coming here.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the opportunity, and and have me back. And like I said, I'm literally at a spiritual crossroads, and I'm praying for God to give me my next set of directions and orders. And you know, this has been powerful. I mean.
Well, you just met Mike, so
yeah,
that's
exactly.
the first step.
That's the first step.
On television too. My mother-in-law always saying, "Oh, he's so awesome."
Yeah. I always love your perspective, man.
Yeah.
Because corporate media sucks, I have to say.
It's not public radio or the stuff I love. Still, what I love Sesame Street. I love
no doubt.
I love Mr. Rogers. I love the Electric Company because TV was
we see Morgan Freeman on Electric Company back in the day?
exactly, back in the day. You know what I mean? That stuff was awesome.
Skinny Morgan Freeman.
Exactly, yeah. But you think about it, because TV, when we were growing up, was like a wasteland of like cartoon violence and cowboys shoot 'em up and stuff.
Yeah.
And they had these couple of shows.
Popeye, Bluto.
Yeah, just smashing
Yosemite
people.
Sam.
Yeah,
Everything.
and everything. It's like it was all violent and crazy. And then they had a couple of shows. They said,
Yeah.
no, we're going to use television for good.
Yeah.
And that's in my heart. I want to use TV for good. And so I appreciate CNN. They let the Van Jones show. They call it Sesame Street for grown people. Like I try to bring people together. They let me do the Redemption Project, where I was showing people coming together who one had committed a crime, the other would have been the victim. We brought them together. Incarceration Incorporated podcast they let me do. So CNN keeps letting me do positive stuff.
It's great.
But it's tough because it's it's a very, very negative media environment right now, and we gotta keep our candle lit for good.
Yeah,
we gotta keep our candle lit. So
we'll keep doing it, man.
hey, brother, thank you.
Keep spreading the truth.
Thank you, brother.
Keep spreading your message.
This is so awesome.
Yeah, man.
You got our
Thank
support,
Very, very
man.
good.
Any
Hey.
way that we can support you
Oh,
and
no, I'm gonna ask.
everything you're
Don't
doing.
worry. Oh, hey, listen. When it's time to fight, I call on all forces.
Awesome. So tell
Awesome.
the people what they can do, where they can find you at, and what you
That's good.
need for them to do.
Yeah, listen, reformalliance.com. Just you can go there, you can sign up, you can be a part of what we're doing. I'm proud to be a part of the Cut 50 movement. CUT50.org is also a great organization. But the main thing is in your own life. If you can give a job to somebody, consider somebody who's formerly incarcerated. Consider somebody who's from a tough neighborhood. If you got a school that you're running or a program, include people. Just because somebody did something and got caught that you probably did when you were in college, don't leave them out.
Love it, man. Thank you
All right.
again.
So what are you saying? What the world needs more now is love, sweet love, huh?
Amen.
Yeah, I agree.
Amen to that.
Amen.
Mike,
Yes.
great show, bro.
Brilliant show.
Beautiful. Beautiful
Amen.
episode. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to this special episode of Hotboxin.
Yes, and I have my mother-in-law right here because she came to see the Van Jones show. Say hi to the people out there, Ma.
Hi.
There's millions of people looking at you, Ma, right now. Millions of
I
good.
love
That was
that.
amazing.
They got good genes in that family.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Good genes, good people.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, until next time, everybody, I'm Eben Britton.
And I'm Mike Tyson.
We're out of here.
See ya.
Peace.
Thank you, Van. That was pretty awesome.
That was fun. Thank you very much.
All awesome.
That was definitely the deepest interview I've ever done.
I love it, dude. I love it.